Well, here we are. This is it. IBC 2013 has started. I am sitting in some prime real estate here. This is the Terra Deck booth in the center of IBC 2013 here in Amsterdam. We have a 2-hour show for you. We are going to be throwing guests at you throughout this 2 hour, and we're going to have a nice chat about the sort of things that they're going to be showing throughout IBC. So if you aren't able to get here this year, make sure you keep track of everything we're doing at broadcastshow.com/live. We'll be here for 2 hours every morning, 10 a.m. in Europe time and 9 a.m. British summer time and some other time elsewhere in the world. But let's get started. We have our first guest with us, and our first guest is Peter Maag. Hi, Peter.
Hey,
good
John.
to see you.
Good to be here.
Thank you. First up, the show is literally just about to get started.
Might as well start with the best.
Absolutely. We can only go downhill from here, as they say. So, Peter, for those who don't know, tell us a little bit about Haivision.
Okay, I'm Peter Maag with Haivision. Haivision is a company that manufactures end-to-end video solutions for premise and over the internet.
Right.
Media management, video distribution.
Yep. So, we've met a few times, and we're going to be speaking to you on the show floor later on. Tell us a little bit about, you do various things from products to technologies. Let's start with a few products and things, and then talk technology.
Just to build the framework, right? We do end-to-end solutions, and we tend to do contribution, management, and distribution, both on-premise and over the cloud. So, it's all anchored by great encoding. Haivision is starts with the encoding, and the Makito, the new Makito X, is an amazing, really the most broadly deployed enterprise encoder on the planet. H.264 HD to 1080p 60, very low latency, super quality. So it's founded on that. That's the contribution. We also have the Kilobyte internet streaming technology, for encoding as well. Going on to the management, we have products that we're showing here that people are very interested in, is to capture video. The Calypso is a very powerful recorder, the Viper, a very powerful recorder. And on the distribution side, we have the Furnace IPTV system, as well as the Haivision Video Cloud. So these are all technologies that we bring together, and we integrate them together to be very powerful media solutions.
So it's not that people would just come to Haivision and say, I just want to ingest something and encode it. You can literally take it from the beginning all the way to the distribution side of things as well,
exactly.
the CDN side of things.
And people really appreciate that we're focused on the entire integrated solution. Some people like to piece things together, and many of our customers buy encoders, fuel their own ecosystems or whatever, but many people really, really appreciate having this end-to-end perspective and the technology that binds everything together. So it's really a full ecosystem of products.
So tell us a little bit about the technology side of things. You just mentioned it.
That's most exciting for us. We're at IBC. This is a technology show. This is where we showcase everything. And at IBC, we're really launching from our high gear labs, right? Our internal R&D. We're launching our HEVC technology, and we're really creating a battle cry with not only the efficiencies of HEVC, but the glue that holds everything together, which we call, actually it's SRT, Secure Reliable Transport. So as an end-to-end company, we decided, all of these solutions are great, but if you can't get video from one place to the other, who really cares? Right? And HEVC, because it is such new technology, and all of the live transport encapsulations are a little bit in flux right now, we're actually using our own SRT transport technology to get the video from one place to the other.
Right, so people see the new technologies and think, okay, this is great, but am I going to get some reliability from this point to this point?
Exactly.
This is what you're giving them that reliability.
How do I apply it? And we have, at NAB there was a big buzz on HEVC, to bring the, economies down, get higher value compression. And a lot of people were concerned about the distribution of it, where in fact our clients, right, are focused a lot on contribution. Right? And HEVC is very applicable to contribution. So when our clients came to us, said, we have this challenge to get HD video from point A back into our ecosystem. we applied the HEVC technology. So today, for example, we're doing kind of a split show. We're down in Hall 14, booth
482 I've got written down here.
Booth 482 in Hall 14, down in the connected TV zone. But we're also running a pretty intense program of live internet streaming sessions from our suite in the Holiday Inn. So what we're doing is we're encoding those sessions using HEVC to maximize the bandwidth coming out of the hotel, a big challenge. But the bandwidth is kind of nasty. It's dirty bandwidth, right?
Absolutely.
So we're using our SRT technology to add reliability to that. So once it's encoded using HEVC, it goes up to the cloud for transcoding to H.264 and internet distribution. But it's also being shot right back down to Hall 14. So you see a live HEVC stream that's been protected against all of the nasty packet loss that occurs even between such a short distance.
Which is, from doing streaming myself, a very good demonstration, because hotel bandwidth is not known to be the most reliable.
That's the worst place you could be, you know, especially trying to pump stuff out. Right? It's a very, very difficult challenge. So not only, you know, making that limited pipe much more efficient by going from H.264 to HEVC, but also applying this reliability layer. So together, it's a very, very powerful application of technology.
So as far as the sort of people who would use this, I mean, from my perspective, from what you've just been saying, you know, if you want to start streaming from somewhere where you know you haven't got good bandwidth, it isn't clean, it's got a lot of contention on it and things like that, solutions like yours is something to look at in order to be able to give you this.
Absolutely. And what's most important, one cool thing, because Haivision is actually in charge of most of our ecosystem when our clients deploy, you know, encoder, cloud transcoder, end user decoders or viewers or whatever. The SRT technology not only provides security and reliability, but when it's launched within our products in the coming months, it's also going to detect the network bandwidth, detect the jitter, the packet loss, and then apply all of the required adjustments to the encoder and the decoder simultaneously to assure the best HD signal going across. The bandwidth goes down, okay, ratchet down the video bit rate in real time on the encoder. The jitter goes up, well then you might need to ratchet up the decoder buffer. So this provides a, you know, for all of our products going forward, not today immediately, but as we apply it through our ecosystem, a really great way to manage the ecosystem, make sure the live stream gets from one point to the other.
Brilliant, Peter. Now, this is the start of IBC. If people are watching this and they want to come and talk to you more about your technology and what you've been talking to me about, you are in, again, I think, was it Hall 14?
Hall 14, 482.
482.
Right, so that's in the connected TV zone, and we'll have our presentation there of the SRT stream coming in. We're also in the Madison room at the Holiday Inn, and that's where we have our big presentation theater as well as all of our advanced technology demonstrations.
Excellent. And if they can't get here, there must be a website that they can go to.
Actually, of course, Haivision.com, H-A-I, like German Haifische, right? Haivision.com, and watch the website because our live streams will be turning on from our presentation theater, and we're going to have guests and our, you know, our internal technology madmen speaking about all of this new application of HEVC and SRT. And
so not only can they learn about it, they can actually see it in action at the same time.
Exactly. And it's incredible. All of our clients want to get the video into their ecosystems from other points. We have, you know, our first trial is actually taking, you know, stock exchange live camera feeds back into a European bank digital signage system. So bringing together all of the pieces of the system is actually what Haivision is about.
Brilliant. Peter, well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for being the first guest.
Amazing.
This
well,
year
hopefully I knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, brilliant. Peter, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sean.
That's great.
Pleasure.
So that's Peter. Go and have a look. I'm always interested in streaming technology. Funnily enough, we're streaming here. We have got many guests for you for the rest of the show for the next hour and 50 minutes. As we get new guests on, you'll be getting our nice little title sequence. Every time you see it, don't run away. You know it's the predecessor to something new and impressive just about to happen. So have a look at this again and we'll be right back with you. Welcome back. We are here for the next 1 hour 50 minutes, I've got it, with all sorts of guests talking all sorts of exciting products and technologies. And our guest number 2 is here. It's Peter from Harmonic. Thank you, Peter, for coming on.
Morning, how are we doing?
I'm very good. This is the first show on the first day of IBC. It actually hasn't even officially opened yet here for another 15 minutes, so we're winding up as the show goes along.
Great.
Peter, you are from Harmonic. I've spoke to some of your colleagues before, but for those who don't know, tell us a little bit about Harmonic.
Harmonic is a video delivery infrastructure provider.
Yep.
We do everything from contribution encoding right behind the camera for transmission,
Yep.
through editing, storage, playout, encoding and delivery, and cable access. So our cable edge and CCAP. So end-to-end video delivery.
Excellent. So I have in my notes here what's Harmonic role in video, but however, it seems to be it's a big role, literally the whole end-to-end.
Right.
So do you provide, in that case, a total end-to-end solution, or can you provide parts of?
Yeah, we can do everything from individual products
Yep.
for things like contribution or playout or
Yep.
distribution encoding, or we can build complete systems, which we very often do these days.
So obviously we are streaming HD. Everybody's working HD these days, but there's people talk about what is real HD,
Ultra HD.
Ultra HD.
Right.
So let's start talking Ultra HD. What's your take on that?
Well, so maybe the main topic here at the moment is Ultra HD and 4K.
Yeah.
We see 4K as the production standard and Ultra HD as the service that goes to all these new televisions.
Yeah.
Because they're actually a little less than 4K, right? And so there's a lot of talk about it, but how is it going to happen?
Yes.
Because people are just starting to buy the televisions.
Yep.
We now have the new HDMI 2.0 spec, so you can get Ultra HD at 60 frames a second through the new HDMI 2.0. And so what are the real applications? I think the first applications for Ultra HD are going to be for streaming and progressive download. So Sony's got that player.
Yeah.
We'll see it in most of the popular streaming services in the next year.
Right.
We'll also see some first linear channels. Mostly they'll leverage compressed playout, which is where you, say, take a movie, you compress it and store it, and then transport spool it out on a channel for televisions. And then the other thing, I think, which will be a lot of what you end up seeing on Ultra HD, will be 1080p channels. So today, if you own a 1080p television, which most of us do, most of what you watch is actually 720p or 1080i.
Yes.
Right? 1080p tends to be what you get on a Blu-ray disc, right? And which is great. On an Ultra HD TV, that level of quality looks pretty good, particularly as most of the TVs upconvert.
Sure.
Right? So a lot of the popular channels, we believe at least, will upgrade to 1080p in the relatively short term for the Ultra HD user. And so it's very real world.
So, I mean, talking real world, if you've got a 1080p TV and we're getting to the point where we can deliver a true 1080p content to them, how's this going to work at the end user? I mean, if the end user is going to still have to have, we're not talking over the air, we're talking over, we need bandwidth for this.
Yeah, well, 1080p is more bandwidth than the channels today, but the popular cable, telco, satellite services can provide 1080p. And some of them already do. If you look at DirecTV, which is the US satellite provider number one there, they have DirecTV cinema channels, which are pay-per-view basically. That's all 1080p.
Gotcha.
Now when it comes to Ultra, that will, for the most part, for any linear channel, require a new set-top box.
Sure.
And so that'll delay some of those deployments versus 1080p, which is a very real-world application, or some of the streaming applications and services, because that's just a software application you download to the player and kind of play it out from there.
So as far as technology goes at the studio side, before transmission, for example, is there a lot of work still needs to be done in order to be able to get those up to the spec to be able to handle the Ultra HD?
So the equipment for recording and editing 4K on the production side is in progress of being supplied, and the prices have come down a lot. A lot of production is now 4K because everyone wants the golden master of any piece of content. So the cameras are there. The red camera is 5K, which is good for stabilization into a 4K signal. And we're showing on the Harmonic booth, Hall 1 B20, the editing of 4K with Adobe Premiere with Harmonic Media Grid storage platform for linear editing, non-linear editing. So the studios are coming up pretty quickly. The production infrastructure, it makes perfect sense. It's not that big a price premium. That's coming down. That's all happening. That's a given. When the services to the television start, that's the real question.
And you mentioned storage there for a second. Obviously, with 4K, storage becomes an even bigger issue as opposed to, and speed of access to that storage, I'm assuming need to.
And that's where specialized storage for editing by multiple people, sometimes in remote locations, is so important for 4K. Some of the generic IT storage platforms won't work in the same way because we're talking colossal files. And for any kind of real-time effectiveness, you're going to need a system that's really optimized for that. And so Harmonic Media Grid is an example of a platform.
And you mentioned on your stand that you're showing some of this. So you are showing some Ultra HD encoding,
we've got all kinds of Ultra HD scenario demonstrations. We have an Ultra HD theater where we're giving talks every hour and trying to show the industry what we believe will be the progression and the rollout of Ultra HD over the next couple of years.
Peter, it's all sounding very interesting. A lot's going to change, as you say, over the next few years. If people again wanted to come and see you, they're watching this live and they're thinking, I want to come out to Amsterdam and have a look. Whereabouts are you again?
Hall 1. B20.
I'm impressed. Beginning of the show, and you already know your stand number. If they're unable to get here, is there a website they can go to?
They can go to www.harmonicinc.com. We just put out live on our site 4K clips that people can download to play with the format. And in general, they'll find a lot of information there about what we do and the future of Ultra HD.
Brilliant, Peter. Well, thank you very much for coming on, especially as it's just before the show started. I know it's a busy time for you getting things ready, so much appreciated coming onto the show. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the invite.
Thank you. Go and have a look. I'm always interested in Ultra HD and 4K myself. It definitely is the way things are going, and it does look absolutely spectacular. We're going to set up and get ourselves ready for our next guest, after which I might talk to you a little bit about the Broadcast Show tour as well. So we'll be right back. You're going to get sick to death of it, but he's going to come every 10 minutes, I have to tell you that. We are here with our next guest. It's James Gilbert from Pixel Power. Hi, James. Good to see you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Again, what we got? We've got about 4 minutes until the show officially opens, by which point I suspect we're going to be interrupted by some lady over Tannoy saying IBC is now open.
We'll have some competition.
We'll have some competition at that particular moment. It's always a busy time at the beginning, so thank you very much for coming out and talking to us.
No problem.
I'm asking this of all our guests because I know who you are. We've spoken many times before, but other people may not. Tell us a little bit first about Pixel Power.
Pixel Power is a specialist graphics company. We've been in business for 25 years, specialising in the broadcast niche. Yeah. We started off in character generators a long time ago, but really graphics has gone well beyond what was the character generator now. And we've moved from graphics as a standalone device into integrated devices, including graphics all the way up to a channel-in-a-box solution. So graphics have moved a long way with us.
Absolutely.
But that's our core expertise.
Yeah. Now, we come and visit you quite regularly at your booth, and it always looks very impressive with what you're showing. IBC is one of those events where people like to show new stuff or talk about upgrades to products and things. What's it like with you guys this year? Anything new and exciting to talk about?
Absolutely, yes. We're seeing a big change in the industry, move towards more commodity IT, and the need to streamline workflows and introduce multi-screen production processes. So we've got two solutions to address file-based workflow for graphics, Pixel Factory and Pixel On Demand. And they're based on the same technology, and they just offer two different pricing models. One is a CapEx model, the traditional broadcast way, but we also have an OpEx-based, which is Pixel On Demand, and this fits very well with some of the niche channels, trying things out. You know, you don't want to be in a situation like we were 3 years ago. Everyone was hyping up 3D, invested heavily in that technology, and now it's resting in peace, I think. So the OpEx model can be quite attractive for some of the new things that might be happening or they might not. You can try them out without a big investment.
So, I mean, you're talking about investment side, and that's this day and age, it's something where you've got to really help out prospective customers these days. So, what are the challenges that some of your customers are now facing that you guys can help address?
I think our customers are facing the challenges that their viewers want to consume content in lots of different ways on multiple screens, and how can you provide the same viewer experience and the same quality of graphics to promote and maintain your brand across all those different platforms. One way of doing it, and I'll just use this as an example, Sky launched a very successful F1 channel last year, and that relied on a separate app which you could download for your tablet. And we were involved in producing the graphics for the main channel and also helping with the red button stuff. So that's a good use of a second screen to complement the main programming.
So, I mean, you just mentioned second screen. A lot of people are talking about second screen technologies these days, and the use of tablets. And so you have that technology, that integration,
We can produce graphics for any format using our file-based workflows. So the second screen shouldn't be overlooked. And it potentially provides another alternative to monetize content and also sell commercials to a very targeted demographic. And some broadcasters are beginning to take advantage of that.
So things are moving on at a pace, always are. And so we're looking at, every time I come in here, there's new technology advancements by different companies. You guys are always showing something new. How do you keep up these days with advancements in technology?
It's a challenge because you have to keep up with advancements in technology and offer solutions as our customers' needs change, but you also have to maintain your core technology and your core customer base, because despite all these new things, multi-screen and all of that going on, most television is consumed still in a linear way. If you think about how your mother watches TV, that's never going to change, and we've got to continue to satisfy that. And maybe Europe, bits of Europe are fairly ahead of the curve in some of these things, but a lot of the developing markets like Asia are just starting to roll out terrestrial multi-channel, so there are opportunities for HD upgrades there. There's a lot going on in other markets, which is core television, which is one-to-many. We mustn't forget the importance of that.
And then nowadays everybody's just watching content on so many different platforms. We've got TV, you've got iPads, you've got on-demand content. How do you sort of keep everything working together? You've got to have a very efficient technology base to be able to...
Absolutely, because there's no extra revenue. In fact, broadcasters are feeling budgets being compromised all the time, and they've got to do more with less. But they also have to maintain the strength of their brand to make sure the branding is there across all the devices. And that's where we can play a part in helping them giving a strong brand and maintain sophisticated graphics even on some of the other devices. And that's again where the OPEX pricing model can play in well, because you can put in sophisticated graphics where you need it without having to invest in a lot of infrastructure to do that. So particularly for new channels in developing markets, it's a cost-effective way. And we can also automate the workflow for those graphics across multiple screens. So you get reuse of content, so it doesn't actually load the production process any more than offering a single screen.
So, I mean, you mentioned 3D earlier, and you know, was it 3 years ago? It was massive, wasn't it? And you know, you ask and you look around town, and there probably won't be that much 3D stuff going on. Here it is. Wait for it. Any minute now, we will hear the dulcet tones of somebody saying, "Here we go. Broadcast show is now officially open." That's what the ding dong is. In case you're wondering, that's not on the show, but that's
she's building up to it.
She's building up. It's going to go on for about the next 2 minutes. Here we go. Yep, you can just hear it, but we'll carry on. There's plenty going on, as you say, technology-wise. What is, you see lots of new technology, and you don't see it necessarily out there in the wild quite as quick as you would expect it to see. You know, is there anything blocking this technology going out? Is there what's slowing this down?
I think, you know, if we just take as an example, there's been a lot of talk about the cloud over the past few years, and we could talk about the cloud. Everyone's talking about it, but who's actually doing it? I think for certain applications the cloud is well suited, but there are a number of myths about the cloud that blocks or makes people hesitate. One of them is security. You know, the cloud is not secure. We're going to put our precious content into the cloud and let Amazon look after it, or Google, or whoever. There are specialist providers who can address that, but if you bear in mind that every banking transaction is through the cloud, you know, it is possible. The technology is there to make it secure. It's more of a psychological factor. I think the other myth about the cloud is that it's infinitely scalable and it's magic. And that's not really true. You need specialist skills to make it scalable. I think you've got to be intelligent about what applications you might choose to put in the cloud. I think probably the most common use of cloud amongst broadcasters is for things like project management. It's not for the actual production process. Although I think in the future, the production process, some aspects of it could move to the cloud. I think perhaps archive storage could go there as well. That kind of makes sense. There are already some transcode cloud-based offerings from Amazon, but they're very limited from a broadcast perspective because those traditional IT vendors don't understand the details of all the different formats, which is a nightmare for broadcasters. So I think, you know, it needs some niche players to get involved in the cloud to provide the specialist knowledge that broadcasters need from the cloud. So the cloud is kind of there, it's coming. I think the other thing we could talk about there is 4K. That's certainly a lot more real than 3D was. But it's going to be a while before people are receiving that in their homes. Relies on a high bandwidth network. I think for production it makes sense, and there's a lot of equipment and products on display here for producing 4K, and we can do 4K graphics with our Pixel Factory file-based render solution. So that will come, but I think people come to IBC to see the new technology for things that they might need in a couple of years' time. It's about that as well as what they need today.
Talking about coming to IBC, obviously you've got a booth here.
We have.
I'm going to test you now. Do you know whereabouts that booth of yours is?
Yes, it's in Hall 7. It's Alpha 31. It's at the bottom of the escalator from the bridge, and it's very close to a coffee bar. So
excellent.
Drop by, have a coffee, and come and look at what we've got there. Pixel Factory, Pixel on Demand.
Excellent. James, thank you for coming on. If people haven't been able to get to IBC and they want to find out some more information about you guys, is there a website they can go to?
Absolutely, it's pixelpower.com.
Brilliant.
Very simple.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming on just at the beginning of the show as well. So if you want to go and have a look at everything to do with Pixel Power, go and find their booth. James just gave the number out, and of course their website as well will have all the information that you need. Now, as we get ready for our next guest, I want to just give you a quick update on the Broadcast Show tour. We will be touring the UK again this year in October. We're going to 3 locations: Belfast, Leeds, and Pinewood Studios in London. It's cunningly placed just after IBC, so you can get your hands on some of the new kit. And we've knocked off this little video for you. Go and have a quick look at this. So that is the Broadcast Show live tour coming in, when's it coming? It's coming in October. We're just getting Bogdan mic'd up, but make sure you go and register at, I think you can get to it, broadcastshow.com, and I think you'll find it's /tour, but there's a little link on there. You can register for the event. Mr. Bloom's going to be there, always worth watching, and you get to see Mr. Bloom for free, so you can't go wrong with that. In the meantime, we are going to carry on, and we are streaming here, obviously, as you know, because you're watching it. And we're going to talk a little bit about streaming and other encoding technologies. And to help me out with that, we've got Bogdan here from Dejero.
Hey, John.
Hi, Bogdan. Good to see you. Thank you for coming on.
Good morning.
Again, I'm asking all our guests this. So for those who don't know, tell us a little bit about Dejero first.
Sure. Dejero is a cellular bonded platform that has various different transmitters. It's got a full management system in the cloud, and it has a ton of different receiver options, and we have many different broadcasters for all over the world that are using our equipment, mainly in the United States and Canada, but we also have lots of broadcasters, main brand broadcasters in Europe, of course, Australia, India. The company was founded in 2008, and we've been growing and really being excited to be in this market.
Just put your mic back on there for a second, that's all right.
Fair enough.
Just as you get your mic on.
Yeah. So again, we've been really excited to be part of this entire industry, and it's been a really exciting industry to see how quickly and dynamically it changes recently. And I mean, all this new technology is coming out, especially in the transmission field, as well as all this cloud computing that has now enabled us to do all kinds of stuff that we've never been able to do before.
So you mentioned stuff that you've never been able to do before, and of course this is IBC where everybody talks about new stuff. Right. What sort of things are you showing here at IBC?
Well, we've got a couple of new exciting products. One of them has been introduced already in the US, but I've got a little bit of an update of with our friends at Newcom and IMT.
Excellent.
And we have put together with them the Connect Live. And what it is, it's a partnership between IMT and Dejero. And effectively, they have built this wonderful, exciting hardware platform that is a compact, ruggedized transmitter that is one of its kind in the sense that it has the ability to transmit over COFDM. Right. It sits on the back of the camera, as well as it has cellular bonded technology built in. So it's got multiple modems, internal antennas, and it can use either one or the other, but it gets your picture on air. When you're in a crowded environment, like a stadium, let's say, you can use your traditional private band COFDM transmission, or when you go away from the stadium and you no longer need to do that, or you're out of range, you can use the cellular bonded transmission.
Okay, so let me get this right. So you can put this on the end of your camera. You're walking around something like the O2 or something like this in here.
Wembley Stadium.
In Wembley Stadium, let's say. And so you can set up your typical Crofton network within the stadium itself. You've got your receivers on there. But if you suddenly need to go outside of that environment, you can carry on transmitting via cellular.
Absolutely.
As far as switching over and things, it just How does it know?
It is not automatic.
Sure.
So you do have to manually just tell it. So it cannot automatically know, because you always want a reliable transmission when you can 100% guarantee.
Yeah.
That's the beauty about having your own frequency in a place. Like, I mean, you've got 100,000 people watching the football game. Yeah. It is kind of tough to get a signal out sometimes, right? Yeah. We have worked very hard at providing as resilient as we can cell bandwidth, but if there is no bandwidth, there's nothing you can do. On your own private bandwidth, you always have bandwidth. You don't share that with anybody, like a cell network. Yeah. So the exciting thing with this is this mic keeps on.
This mic keeps flicking off, doesn't it?
Indeed.
It gives our sound engineer something to work on, you see. When he's otherwise, he just has to switch a mute button off and on. He can ride a fader now. He's got something to do.
Oh, he's also got the bleeping out too.
Oh yeah.
But no, so as I was saying, once you're done with the, once you want to go outside of that area, your COFDM transmit does not necessarily reach out.
No.
But you want to follow an event. You want to follow a news piece that happens outside of it, or some sort of story that is just not quite in the same boundaries. You're out of COFDM range. So this is why we added the cell bonding technology to it. It also has the ability to do store and forward, so you can actually record the content and transmit it later if you so choose.
So within this you can record as well?
Yes. So it's got actually 128 gigabyte of storage inside that you can record content and play it out. The other nice thing about it, it's got HDMI input, SDI, and analog. It pretty much supports everything you got out there. It automatically adjusts, it automatically identifies the inputs. It is by far the most versatile box here on the show floor. It is fairly light, as
I was going to say, camera guys are going to like this because it's not
the smallest thing.
Sure.
But it is nonetheless. It is very light. It's very flexible. And really, I'm hoping that I can get this mic organized in the next little while, but I'll try to start to hold it.
That's all right. No, just hold it for a second. That'll be fine.
So
it is, as you say, it is very light. And I mean, I've worked with RF kit and just the RF side of something on the back of a camera.
It's about the same weight.
Yeah, I mean, this is, and plus you've got the screen on it. You can record on it.
Of course, you've got a couple of mounting points. You can also put it up on a tripod if you so choose to. It's got a very nice large screen, so you can actually see.
Yeah. There we go.
So you've got quite a large screen, so you've got a lot of resolution that you can work with there, which means you can use it for things like video return and other services in the future.
Yeah.
And no, we're really excited with this partnership, and we're really looking forward on showing this to customers, getting their feedback. But so far, it's been awesome.
And it really is a one box does all, isn't it? I mean, you know, if you've got this in your kit, you can put this on, connect to a Crofton network, connect to a. As far as the cellular bonding, how many?
So it's got 8 antennas and 4 cell cards. So it's all designed for LTE.
Yep.
So as you know, in Europe, has been struggling somewhat with bandwidth. It was all mostly 3G, and now with LTE coming out, like for example in the UK, O2 and Vodafone just launched their LTE networks just a couple weeks ago. And with that, there's a lot more bandwidth available, and it's important to have multiple antennas already available because they're MIMO technology, so they require 2 antennas for every modem. And
absolutely.
So it's already built in. It's already ready for that. It's available this quarter. It should be coming out before the end of the year to customers. So really looking forward to having it out in the marketplace.
Brilliant. And this is your first encoder, isn't it? Is it?
It's the first hardware encoder.
Hardware encoder, yeah.
So it's the first time we worked with a hardware encoder. Yeah. Everything that we have done so far was software encoded. Yes.
So why did you decide to move to a hardware encoder?
We didn't. We're very open-minded about our platform, and we wanted to provide versatility to our customers. People wanted low power usage. They wanted camera mounted. For that, you do need a hardware encoder. It's just, simply going to a pure software, the horsepower that you need to encode, it's very tough to put on the back of a camera.
Sure.
But at the same time, providing versatility and lightweight and low power consumption, that has to come with a hardware encoding. So we just want to provide people options. And again, the guys at IMT have been fantastic to work with, and we're really excited to work with them. So it's been a great partnership so far, and we're looking forward to many years forward.
Bogdan, that's great. Now, obviously, you're showing this on your stand. If people want to come and have a look at it over the next few days, whereabouts can they find you?
I think it's stand 11C21.
I'm looking at it on my notes. You are spot on, absolutely.
Perfect.
And I'm quite impressed. Obviously, if they can't get to IBC and they want to find out some more about this, and obviously all your other software technologies, is there a website they can go to?
Absolutely. www.dejero.com.
Bogdan, thank you very much for coming on and dealing with our mic that decides it doesn't like you and wants to run away. Go and have a look at their website, find out information about this, because this looks quite impressive, I have to say. And if you're around, go and have a visit of their stand and get your hands on it in real time. We are going to get our next guest sorted out. Here's that little bit of intro sequence again while we get things sorted here. We'll be right back very shortly. Welcome back. So far, it's going well. First day of IBC 2013. We started before the show actually started. That's how confident we were that we were going to do well. And so far, we are doing well. I'm quite impressed. The guests have been good. Now we've doubled up. We have two guests with us. We have Kieran and Paul from Canon. Thank you guys for coming on. I understand why there's two of you. Obviously, we're talking Canon. Canon have a lot of kit to talk about. And obviously, this is IBC. This is IBC 2013. You've been here a long time.
Yeah, it's been nearly 30 years now.
Nearly 30 years you've been coming
here. So primarily on the broadcast lens side.
Yeah.
So, but of course, in the last couple of years, we've introduced a whole new range of digital SLR photography and videography, and then more recently the cinema products, so the Cinema EOS system. So we've got a bigger stand here. I think it's the biggest stand we've ever had, and we've got lots of products on there. So hopefully people will come around and stop by and see it.
Now, as I've got you on in front of me here, and you're effectively tethered, you can't run away. This whole DSLR thing, it must have just taken me by surprise at some point when that came. I mean, it's just when the 5D Mark II went how it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was. I think it took everybody by surprise how successful it was, and of course from that, really the Cinema EOS idea was born and developed into a dedicated camera.
And the way Canon has responded to it has been amazing. I mean, from a filmmaker's point of view, you've just stepped up the mark every year.
It's been really exciting. You know, to be honest, when we introduced the 5D Mark II, we didn't really realize the impact it was going to have, and it took off. It sort of brought videography and filmmaking to a whole different price point in the market. So that was the first thing, and then there was lots of feedback. That product wasn't designed primarily for video. So the 5D Mark III came out then, and that's been a great success. It was slow starting off, but as people have realized what it can do, they've really started to get into it. And then we introduced Cinema EOS, with the C100, the C300, the C500, really products designed for filmmakers. And you're covering everything from the sort of the basic wedding guide right up to somebody who's doing a 4K movie shoot.
Absolutely. And I mean, talking about specifically the C300, it's just gone massive. I mean, everybody loves it. We use it all the time, and and it is just one of those cameras where you point it at something and there's some kind of magic sauce you put in there where it just makes everything look gorgeous.
That's exactly what we want to hear.
Yeah, I mean, we use I use lots of different cameras, but there's something, and they're all great, but the C300, you point it at something and you go, yes, it does something to it.
Good.
And the beauty of it, I mean, what we've found, obviously, talking large chip, is of course low light.
Yes.
And its capabilities in low light.
Yes. Well, actually, that's really exciting because this year we've launched really a whole range of firmware updates for these products, and I think the most significant one is the low light capability. So we've introduced now on the C100, the C300, and the C500 the capability to shoot at 80,000 ISO. So that's basically 80,000. Okay. So that's basically shooting in the dark. Yeah. And of course, you're not using infrared here, so you still get some color. Yeah. So there are issues. Of course, you'll see noise at that sort of level, but the feedback we've had from the testing and the beta testing is, don't worry, this is going to give us a whole new range of creative shooting opportunities. Yeah. And we can manage noise in post-production. That's the sort of concept. So we're really excited to see what the creatives, people who really use these products, will sort of make of it and deliver. And the beauty of it is you've got something that shoots 80,000. Even for those who think, well, I'm not going to shoot in the dark, it's a bit like having a big off-roader. You're not necessarily going to use it off-road all the time, but it's nice to have to know that if the snow comes, you can. That's right. You can get out. You've got that ability now to be able to crank it up slightly more than you would have thought you would need to. That's right. Yeah, and changes the way you can shoot and the sort of situations you might shoot in. And of course, these are all small form factor. Yeah. So you can put them into different sort of spaces and. So that cupboard shot with just a tiny little light on for that gloomy look, you've got it now, and you don't have to think about.
I mean, a lot of it will be, as Kieran said, the fact that you can retain colour information. Yes. So if you're shooting in Canon log, you'll still have the wide dynamic range. Yep. You can then go through post-production and retain all that colour, which you can't do with an image intensifier, and you may not be wanting to or able to put lights up as well. So it's just a whole new area that filmmakers and documentary makers, etc., can use.
Absolutely. And this is purely a software upgrade.
Purely a software upgrade, free of charge. It's going to be available, I think, Q4 this year.
Q4 this year.
Yeah. So probably sort of, I don't know, November, that sort of timing. So yeah, we're really optimistic it's going to be a great added value to all those guys who've already bought those products.
Brilliant. It sounds amazing. I can't wait to load it on my C300.
Okay, good.
We do actually have available on the stand the cameras with the new firmware on there. So you can come and see the new capabilities and the new features that will be included in the firmware upgrade.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, just following on from that, there's a little low light demonstration area where you can turn down the light and look at the ISO and see what you can actually get. So come to the stand, it's really good to see that.
I will probably pop popping around later to have a look at that. Just moving on from that, when you use something like the C300 ourselves, we have that set of L glass, because L glass is just brilliant, works lovely on the C300 and C100. But they are still steel lenses.
Yes.
They still have even though the glass is magnificent, it still has the drawbacks from a cinema point of view, being steel lenses. Yeah. You've tackled that, haven't you?
Yes. So we've now got a full range of cinema prime lenses. Yeah. So we introduced the 6.1 actually just this day or yesterday on the stand. It's there to see. It's a 35mm cinema prime. T1.5 I think it is, so it's a fast bright lens, and it's going to have that 12 blade iris control as well, so you get that very nice rounded bokeh effect, and it's a slightly warmer lens than the EF lenses, so we think really well suited to cinematography. And of course now you've got the full range from, I think it's 14 up to 135.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So we've got the full range, 6 lenses plus you've got the big lenses on top of that.
Sure. So are they available effectively from today onwards? What's the availability of these? People are going to be
35mm is still to be confirmed when exact availability is, but the rest of the range is available now.
It's sort of pretty imminent. So.
Yeah. And again, if people want to come and have a play with them, you've got them on your...
Yeah, they're all on the stand. You can see them. Hopefully you can enjoy them and make some good movies with them in the future.
Excellent. We're going to wind up shortly, but there's a couple of things I've got on my notes that I want to actually mention, because one of them takes... got my notice here. You've got EBU approval for DSLRs.
Yes. Do you want to talk about that?
The EOS 1DC, which is a DSLR that's capable of 4K recording onto the compact flash, as we've just announced that the EBU have approved it. It's passed their criteria for Tier 1 production. Excellent. It's the very first DSLR that's been approved for 100% content capture for TV broadcast and production.
which is great.
Because great news, absolutely. Yeah. It's really DSLR is now positioned as a tool for the broadcast industry, and that's good news.
No more jumping through hoops to try and get your bit of content on. If you're using one of these cameras, it's an approved camera.
It's ready to go.
Yeah, they'll let you take the content. Guys, that's great. Thank you very much for coming on. It's always want to chat with you for ages about your kit and things, but we've only got a short amount of time. Again, if people want to find out information, is there a good website they can go to for the Canon products?
Maybe 2 good websites. Yep. We've got just CPN. If you look for Canon Professional Network, and you just search on Canon CPN, you'll come to a really great website. Or of course, you can go to canoneurope.com, and you'll also get all the information there as well.
And again, I'm just going to test you again. The booth, if they want to come and see you here at IBC,
is Hall 11 E50.
Excellent, brilliant. Thank you very much, guys.
Fantastic.
Kieran, Paul, thank you for coming on. Much appreciated. I will no doubt be running down to the Canon stand and seeing you later on today to have a play with things. But in the meantime, thank you for coming on the show. Exciting news, guys. If you've got a C100, C300 or C500, you're basically going to be able to shoot in the dark. I can't wait to give it a go. And have a look at their new Cine lenses as well. We are going to move this show on. We have some more guests coming on. We have another hour of content for you before you get rid of my ugly mug. But in the meantime, we're going to get our next guests on and play the little VT again for you. Welcome back. We have another hour of Broadcast Show live for you here at IBC 2013. We are in the Teradek booth. We have people standing around watching on massive great screens. I am in a massive glass bubble, and it's quite impressive. If you're around IBC, come and visit and say hello. We have guests coming on every 10 minutes to talk about what they're showing here at IBC. And we have our next one all lined up ready for you. It's Rino from Porch Digital. Rino, thank you for coming.
Okay, good morning. Thank you.
Good morning. The start of IBC, it's always a busy first morning. We've just got the booths all set up and everybody starts piling in. So I appreciate your time and coming on the show.
Thank you. Welcome.
For those who don't know, tell us a little bit about Porch Digital.
Yeah, Porch Digital is a global leader in solutions for migrating, managing and monetizing video content. So we do specifically focus on storage and archive of video content for the broadcast industry.
So IBC is a place of announcements, a place of talking about technologies.
Exactly.
And obviously you've got a stand here this year. Tell us a little bit about what you're talking to prospective clients and customers about this year at IBC.
Yeah, basically this year we are showing enhancements to our portfolio of products in the area of SAMA. SAMA is a set of products for migrating video tapes to digital archives. Related also to the management of content, we are showing enhancements to Diva Archive as well. And we are also showing Diva Publish, an online video publishing application.
Right.
But the stronger focus is clearly on a new offering, which is a service offering, a cloud offering, which is called Links. So this is where we are clearly putting a strong focus this year. Because we started to announce our Links program last year at IBC. This was a program announcement. And we started to capture some customers first in the US, and so we did announce Links in the US at NAB, and now Links is fully available in Europe as well.
So tell me a little bit more about Links. What does Links offer you that some other products like you don't have? Being a cloud-based solution, what are we getting from Links?
So Links is what we call a content storage management offered as a service into the clouds. So content storage management is clearly about managing video content and being really aware about the specificity of the content. It's not just data, it's video information. And so Links is basically offering solutions that so far were located at customers' facilities and putting that into the cloud. And what should be clearly mentioned is that when we talk about the cloud, obviously there is a lot of talks about the cloud. What you're offering is clearly a storage into a private cloud. So the customer can put their content into a storage area, and which is located. They know exactly where their content is, how it is protected, and so on.
So from a broadcaster's point of view, what is the advantage to them of having this storage in a cloud as opposed to a local storage?
Yeah, there are several advantages. Obviously, I would say the first advantage is financial advantage, because instead of having to invest into a massive storage and archive, obviously the customer will access to the service on a pay as he goes. So it's instead of investing into capex, he will move to an opex budget. So that's a financial advantage. And then there is clearly an operational advantage, because the customer does not need to have resources to manage and to administrate his local storage. Everything will be done by from Porch into the cloud. And the customer does not have to worry about technology obsolescence, migration of content from a technology A to a technology B. This will be done automatically into the cloud. So there are clearly operational advantages because customers do not need to put their own resources to maintain. They don't need the square meters to host their archive. Everything will be done into the cloud. But the primary advantage today that is driving the interest for Links and cloud services is probably the financial motivation.
Understood. So the cloud, even though it's a private cloud, there are lots of companies have the ability of storing information on the cloud. What's unique about Porch's offering here?
Yeah, first, what is unique compared to other cloud solutions is that what you are offering is clearly a private cloud. So customer will have their content stored into a private cage sitting in a data center. So the content is not going to be spread over networks around different locations. That's the first point to stress. But the other point is that there are a lot of cloud storage services today. But what is unique is that what we do provide is the video awareness of the storage. It means that we are able, for example, to provide video partial restores, the possibility to just restore a portion of the video content which is in the cloud, which basically you can't do with standard data files. So there are a lot of video specific features that are related to our cloud offering.
Brilliant. Now, obviously as the cloud is becoming quite a buzzword now, and broadcasters are going to start looking to move towards the cloud. Are you seeing broadcasters move towards the cloud, a cloud-based storage and archive system, and how fast are they moving?
Yeah, it's a very good question. We clearly see a motivation from customers to move to the cloud, but then the motivation really depends on the size of the customer, on the country as well. And I'll just give you a couple of examples. We are currently working with some very big brands who have a lot of content. And their primary motivation is clearly because basically their business is relying on the availability of this content. Yep. So they are clearly looking for disaster recovery solutions, okay? Yep. And so they clearly see the cloud as an attractive business model to duplicate their content in a remote and safe location. Yes. So the primary driver for those customers is disaster recovery. Yep. And this goes with customers who have a lot of content and who are clearly depending on their content, the availability of the content to run their business. But we also see now in some countries who are very much affected by the euro crisis, like for example Spain. Yes. You know, Spain, there have been a lot of cuts in the investments. Yep. So the only way for customers who want now to evolve their infrastructure is to look at OpEx models, at outsourcing their content. So, I mean, the speed at which customers will go into the cloud depends very much on the customer profile, on its location. But there is definitely an interest for the cloud, and we can see that all around. I mean, at this show, everyone is talking about cloud, and we have signed several contracts with customers. So it's a good sign and a good trend for us.
Brilliant. I mean, it all sounds incredibly interesting, especially the fact that now, I mean, you can store all this content on the cloud and still. I love the idea of actually being able to restore just a portion of a video clip rather than think, oh no, the whole lot's going to have to come down. So that's great. If people are around IBC and they want to come and have a look, do you know what stand you're at?
We are in Hall 7, stand D14.
Brilliant, Rino, I'm impressed. And if people can't get, and obviously they're watching this in some other country and they decided they can't get across to Amsterdam, I'm assuming there's some website that they can go to find this information?
Yeah, so the website is pretty simple. It's www.fpdigital.com.
Brilliant. Okay. That's great. Rino, well, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for your time.
It's much appreciated. If you want to go and have a look, they are, and I've got it written down on a piece of paper here, Hall 7, D14. Go and have a talk to Rino and his team all about Porch Digital Services, and of course the website as well if you can't get here. We are going to get our next guest lined up, and they're going to have a little chat about what they are showing here at IBC 2013. I'm going to get myself a drink for the next 2 minutes before my voice completely disappears. In the meantime, you've seen that clip before, I think. Here it is again. Do you know what? You may not have seen that one again. That was the Broadcast Show Tour. So if you've only just tuned in, that's the Broadcast Show Tour. It is happening in October this year. We are visiting Bristol. No, we're not. Sorry, Bristol, we're not visiting you. We're visiting Belfast, Leeds and Pinewood Studios in London. So make sure you get signed up. You'll see lots of new kit. Hopefully you'll see some new kit from this guy here, which is Simon Westland from Blackmagic.
We're looking forward to the tour already.
Absolutely.
No, the last one was great.
The last one was brilliant,
I think this is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's great to get around the UK and meet all the different customers. So yeah, very much a part of what's coming up in October.
Excellent, Simon. That's looking forward to it. In the meantime, the alarms are sounding. It's the Blackmagic new announcement alarm, I suspect. It must be going on.
Going off on a regular basis
absolutely.
at the moment.
It is, isn't it? IBC 2013. I'm going to have to start with the quick question, what's new?
The customary question of what's new. Some fantastic new announcements again this year, and whilst that's become an expectation to some extent from customers, we should never rely on it and take it for granted. Guys have been working incredibly hard on the Ultra HD 4K products, and we have a massive upgrade to the ATEM 1ME production studio. You recall at NAB we released the Production Studio 4K. We've now upgraded the 1ME version of the ATEM. We've put 10 6-gig SDI inputs on it. It's got a brand new front panel design with the built-in LCD and the aluminium front panel that you've seen on a number of other products. It's HDMI 4K. It's got an Ultra HD frame store of 180 frames for Ultra HD media clips. It's got the world's first Ultra HD DVE. So pan, tilt, zoom, rotate your Ultra HD image.
Fantastic.
It's got a built-in power supply.
Just hold it up.
I've dropped my mic off.
Hold it up to your side.
See if we can just touch something and I'll hold it here.
Yeah.
So we've got built-in power supply on that unit. Tons and tons of new features on it. It's the same price as the old one.
Wow.
So, I mean, you've used ATEM.
We use ATEM all the time. We're using ATEM here. We are currently switching with a 2ME, I do believe.
So, this is also dropped in size, John. It's now one rack unit.
One rack.
So we've dropped it in size. We've put 10 6-gig inputs on it, built-in power supply, host of new features, and it's the same price point.
Amazing.
So that is an incredible product.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think the interesting thing with that is that, of course, it's not just Ultra HD, it's SD, HD already, but it's equipped for people who are going to move into that area.
Yes.
And we saw this at NAB. We spoke at NAB about the prevalence of 4K. 4K was everywhere, and we're seeing it more at IBC, and we wanted to very much continue that path of upgrades on the ATEM product line.
And as far as the panel side, it's still compatible with all the other panels?
Absolutely. Ethernet connected, whether it's computer control or broadcast panel control, interchangeable. Use the big panel, a little panel, doesn't matter. It really is cool, and we've got it on the booth and we're showing it, and we've got 10 Ultra HD sources with live switching. Of course, we're playing those 10 sources from HyperDeck. Because HyperDeck's got the 4K recording and the 4K playback. Another product I think you've used.
Absolutely, all the time.
In the past, this is easy for you.
Yeah, absolutely. We use this stuff all the time. Absolutely.
You know these things pretty well. HyperDeck Studio models have had an update. Again, brand new front panels on them. The aluminium front, so it's strong and attractive. You'll like this one. On the HyperDeck Studio Pro, we've added ProRes 422. ProRes LT, ProRes Proxy.
Brilliant.
So you've now got longer recording times to the SSD. And what that means is if you use one of those more compressed ProRes formats, you can get 24 hours onto one SSD.
It's unbelievable.
So all of a sudden, for archiving, for live event use, for logging of transmission for TV stations or whatever, you can get 24 hours onto one SSD, put 2 discs in, you don't need to come back to the unit for 48 hours.
Brilliant.
Outrageous. So again, so that's HyperDeck Studio Pro, free update for the new ProRes codecs, download from our website today. HyperDeck Studio, changed to that built-in power supply now, so no more external brick power supply. And HyperDeck Studio will also get the ProRes updates at some point over the next month or two.
So if you've got a current HyperDeck Studio Pro or HyperDeck Studio, those software updates for the ProRes will be on their way.
Absolutely free. Free today for Studio Pro and coming for Studio in the next month or so.
Fantastic.
The alarm's going again.
The alarm's going again. They're going to say, you're going to reel them off.
Well, the other things that I think have been really important is we're seeing evolution of this 4K message. So we've got quite a few updates on our mini converter side. So we've added the 6-gig SDI and HDMI 4K to a bunch of the mini converters. So we've got mini converter optical fiber 4K, new version of that. Because of course for 6-gig SDI, you're talking short cable lengths. So fiber becomes really important in a live environment. We've got the SDI to HDMI 4K. And what this does is it'll take single link 6-gig SDI, dual link 3-gig, or quad link HD SDI, and spit it out as an HDMI 4K signal. So for connecting to projectors and the new monitors, really simple. And there's a new SDI multiplex as well, which is all the different flavors of SDI in and out. So you can go 6 gig to 3 gig dual. You can go 3 gig to single link 6 gig. You've got all the matrix of in and out.
And that's over fiber on the
no,
multiplex?
that's an SDI
oh,
and
okay,
SDI
that's
out,
great.
but really just converting between just single link, dual link and quad link.
Demux it at the other end.
Yeah. So they're really important because I think as people have started to adopt 4K and look at the way that different manufacturers are interfacing to those products, there's still quite a few people are using 3 gig dual link to get into the 4K monitors and displays. There's a beautiful new Canon prototype 4K display in this hall that, funnily enough, is we're using DaVinci Resolve on the grading on the Canon booth for that, but that uses quad HD SDI into it. So that's exactly where converters like this are going to be so important for people that are getting into 4K workflows. So I think we're seeing IBC as a lot of evolution of the 4K Ultra HD message, and the more and more people that we start to talk to are really adopting that now. I mean, I'm sure you're getting 4K everywhere you talk.
Yeah, absolutely. 4K is the thing of choice to talk about at the moment, I have to say, and it's great that you guys are stepping up and are producing kit at a ridiculous rate of knots that seem to support this.
Well, we try. I mean, I think that look, 6 gig SDI is something that we launched at NAB, and we're really pioneering with that. I mean, we believe that it will become the standard for connection because people just want a single cable SDI connection, and the capability is there. So the fact that we're seeing it now come through to all of these products, even the HyperDeck Studio Pro, it's got the 6 gig SDI, so it's a perfect companion to the switcher. And it's about people being able to build a workflow for that content production. We won't get 4K broadcast until we've got 4K content. So it's about people being able to spec now for 4K production, and we're really seeing that very much a reality as of today.
So just very quickly, as I've got you here, moving away from 4K for a second to another impressive product, the Pocket Cinema camera is now shipping since we last spoke.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just going to ask you, how's that going?
God, it's tremendous. I mean, we're seeing bigger volume now, which I mean, I think that's what most people want to hear, and the information that is good news. We're seeing the real ramp up in the manufacturing of that. So volume-wise of units, we're getting a lot out to people. It's stunning, John. I mean, it's a £700, $1,000 cinema camera, and it truly is a cinema camera. Don't compare it like for a video camera, because it's not. No. It's designed to produce those wide dynamic range images, and you use it as you would a cinema camera. So there's a different discipline to the way that you shoot. But if you look at some of the stuff that Philip Bloom's done, and Philip's on I think with you guys, over the course of the next day or two, you look at some of the stuff that Phil's shot and that other guys have shot. It's just stunning. The image that's coming off this camera is incredible. So a lot of those getting out of the door. As Patrick and I walked over from our booth in Hall 7 to here, we were looking at somebody filming on a booth. Somebody was walking down the corridor with their Pocket Cinema camera. So it's great that we're sort of seeing them in the marketplace. And I think people are going to have a lot of fun with the product. I think we're going to see some fantastic things created, just simply because of its portability. I mean, it is amazing.
It is, absolutely.
So good news on that. We're hoping that we'll get a little bit later on the 4K camera than we would have liked. We hope to have that shipping in quantity by now, and it's just not back by 2 or 3 weeks. We think that we should have those out by about the end of September. And a similar story, it will ramp up in terms of production. We're going to get these into full manufacturing capacity, but we know volume. You can do volume. We can do volume. So once it gets into manufacture, we're confident that those numbers of back order will come down really quickly.
Brilliant. So we've got a couple more minutes. You talked about the new ATEM and the new HyperDecks. Do we have some kind of delivery time on those when we can start expecting to get our hands on them?
Yeah, we do. Well, the HyperDecks will be end of September. They literally will be into manufacture in the next couple of weeks. And the ATEM is October, so all pretty soon. They're products actually that we've had the development underway for some time. We were first looking at the updates to the ATEM back in December. The guys were working on it even that far away. So yes, good news on those is they're going to ship really quickly. We also, was one other thing that we added on the similar vein. You may remember at NAB we did the Smart Scope Duo.
Yes.
This was the rack mount monitors, the two 8-inch displays. I think you've got one. Out of the door there. All this product placement's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
We've made the Smart Scope Duo 4K as well.
Right.
So you've now got two 4K monitors and 4K scopes in that.
Brilliant.
That ships immediately.
Excellent.
Already in manufacture. So yeah, I say evolution on all of those things. ATEM October, HyperDex end of September. The new Smart Scope now, the new converters I talked about, they're October dates on those. So everything pretty quick, sort of coming through.
And so obviously you're coming on the tour.
We are.
And if people haven't been able to come and see you here, are they going to be able to get their hands on some of this to have a look at it on the tour?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, one of the things that we'll do on the tour very much is we show how these products sit together in a sort of flyaway type kit, so that you can take the whole of your 4K production on the road in a case of something like 10 or 12 rack units. So we'll have those flyaway kits out on the tour, and a bunch of the other products too. I'm sure that we'll have cameras there and stuff as well, and be part of the workshops that you guys are doing. So
that's great, Simon.
We're looking forward to it.
It's going to be fun. In the meantime, if people want to come and see you during IBC, whereabouts will they find you?
We're Hall 7, right in the middle, and I think we're pretty easy to find over there.
Yeah, I can find the big one in the middle, but if you want to know, it's H20 is where it will be, H20 Hall 7.
That's absolutely right.
And of course, the website, if people can't get here, I'm assuming
BlackMagicDesign.com.
BlackMagicDesign.com, where they'll find out information about all the new products. Is that up on the
site?
Everything's
on the site. Yeah, everything's brand new on the site. There's press releases on there. There's images. People want to see them up close. They can download images straight away from the website this morning.
Brilliant, Simon. Thank you for coming on.
Pleasure, John.
We will definitely be popping around and seeing you later on in the show.
Sounds good.
And talking tech and all that sort of thing. That's great.
Take care,
Simon. Thank you. What can I say? The alarms went off. It was a Blackmagic announcement session. What can I say? Always is, and it's always impressive announcements as well. Go and have a look at their stand. If you're around, again, it's Hall 7 H20 or blackmagicdesign.com, of course, is their website, and you'll find all the information there. And just a reminder, they will be on the tour. So if you want to get your hands on a pocket cinema camera, if you want to play with an ATEM or a HyperDex Studio or HyperDex Studio Pro, or anyway, the list goes on, you know what I'm talking about. It will be there for you to get your hands on, I'm sure. In the meantime, it's that clip again. The next guest will be on their way momentarily. Welcome back. We have another 35-40 minutes of this show to go, where we've got more guests to come on and talk about what they're showing here at IBC 2013. All going well so far here from the TerraTech booth, right in the middle of IBC. Now we have our next guest with us from Trilogy. We have Mark Ellis. Mark, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Now, Mark, tell us a little bit, for those who don't know. I know a bit about Trilogy. Just down the road from where I live, but for those who don't know, tell us a little bit about Trilogy.
Okay, well, Trilogy's been in the broadcast industry for getting close to 30 years now. Started off with some niche products. Mainly these days our core products are intercom systems, talkback systems, where our heritage is.
Yep.
We also provide SPG products as well for timing reference systems. So that's what we fundamentally do.
Brilliant. Now, this is again, I say to most people, it's IBC. There's always plenty to talk about of kit that you're showing and talking to your prospective clients about here. So what sort of things can people expect to see on your stand this year, IBC?
Well, we launched at CABSAT earlier in the year our Messenger, which is a low-cost intercom system. We're trying to get at the small studios, OB trucks. Yeah. It's complementary to our Gemini largest system. Yeah. So that's at IBC for the first time, so you might call it a European launch.
So tell us a little about this product in particular. What's this offering?
Well, it's an off-the-shelf product. So we looked at some startup organisations. They're fairly low tech within their organisation. We wanted to be almost an out-of-the-box intercom system. So it's configured in the factory. It comes with certain standard options. So you can literally take it out of the box, plug it in, and away to go. But it still has the capability of being expanded.
So you've got some expansion, and this is a so you can have like a gallery control side of things and belt packs, and for example. As far as communication, what sort of technology is it used for? Is it an RF technology?
We can interface to wireless technology as we can on most of our products. It's fundamentally voice over IP based. Okay. Cool. So it's set as a standalone, but has that capability of growing into something bigger as an organisation expands.
Brilliant. So they can choose the smaller kit as they get started, as they expand or take on another truck or something like that.
That's right.
You can just buy.
And then it also shares our gateway software with our Gemini system, which is our sort of high tier product. Yeah. So if you've got one or the other, it's a common software, it's a common interface. So that makes it easier again for people if they migrate or move on to different systems from us.
Right. Brilliant. Now, I've got on my little notes here that you're doing something with Nevion. Now, I spoke to Nevion a few times before. Okay. Tell us a little bit about what's going on with them.
Well, we've got it's not a formal agreement, so I would say it's an informal relationship. They've talked to us about their network capabilities. They really see intercom, and particularly intercom over IP, as an application that can lay across that. So I think there's more and more customers are looking to people to provide a complete solution rather than integrate it themselves. So Nevion have got our Gemini intercom system on their booth in Hall 1. They've also got our SPG as a reference for their stand. In return, we've got some of their products on our stand. So we do see that integration of capability there.
So what's the advantage of running voice over IP for communications as opposed to people used to run 2-wire, 4-wire systems?
Well, I think it's the ease of installation. In particular, our Gemini, which is a distributed system, you no longer have a central matrix running out analog cables to panels. It's all over IP, and on the larger studios, you can take a Gemini unit, put it in a particular part of your facility, and have multiple units. So its installation efficiency is a major factor.
Right, so it's no longer effectively point to point between all these parts. So long as they're on this an IP network, they can all see each other, they all talk.
That's right, and more and more of our panels are now IP, so we see that as the future.
Brilliant. So Nevion is showing your technology on their stand?
Correct.
You've obviously got a stand here as well at IBC, and I understand it's Hall 10A29.
Yeah, that's correct.
If people want to come and have a look, what sort of things are you demonstrating there on your stand?
Well, we've got the two intercom systems I talked of, Gemini and Messenger, and as I said, launching Messenger as far as Europe is concerned. We also have our SPG, the Mentor XL, Mastermind changeover units. Products that people are fairly familiar with, but all of them are generally having extra features, enhancements, year on, year in, year out. We have some Nevion product, but that's more about promoting the relationship rather than physically integrated on our booth as it is on theirs.
If people are looking at the Messenger product and thinking this is for me, is it available to order now?
Yes, we've been shipping since February when we launched the CABSAT. In fact, it's installed on a Riverside. It's an Irish company on the Dawson stand in the outside area. Right. So there's a physical installation working that we've supplied. It's available today.
Fantastic. So again, if people want to see, they can see you at Hall 10A29. If they want to find out some more information about all the Trilogy products, what's the website that they can go to?
It's www.trilogycoms.com.
Brilliant, Mark. Thank you for coming on. The alarm goes off again. Our time must be up, I suspect. But in the meantime, thank you for coming on the show. I realise it's a busy first day here at IBC. It's always appreciated when you come on. So thank you very much. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Mark. Go and have a look at their website. And of course, again, if you are going to be in IBC over the next couple of days, they are in Hall 10A29. You can get yourself hands-on on the new Messenger intercom system and of course all their other Gemini systems, and look at their integration with Nevian. It will all be there on their stand. We are now going to get ourselves sorted for our next guest. I am just going to remind you that the Broadcast Show Tour Live is coming up in October. Make sure you got to broadcastshow.com/did I say live? /tour. Broadcast Show Tour will be there. We will have lots of kit for you to play around with. Philip Bloom will be there. Later on in the show, we'll play a little VT so you can see what's going on. In the meantime, have a look at this while we get our next guest ready. Here we are, we're back. So I use a product quite a lot in the work that I do, and you've probably heard of it. It's the Samurai by Atomos. And if you don't know, earlier this year at NAB, we had a chat with Jeromy, and he told us all about a new Samurai that's coming out called the Samurai Blade. And guess what? He's sitting right next to me, and it looks like he's got one in his little mitts. What do we have here?
Okay, so this is the Samurai Blade. It's modelled off the Samurai and the Ninja.
Yep,
so
big
I'll just
whacker on there.
Put it down there.
We'll get
I don't have a feed coming in, so I'll just go through what we're doing. So this panel is the big thing when we made the Ninja and Samurai at the time. There weren't the high-res panels that are available today. And it took us a while to find a lower volume maker that would give us the same types of panels that mobile phones and iPads, etc. have. So this is a 1280 by 720. 325 DPI 5-inch screen. And that's equivalent to the iPhone and Samsung resolution. Not only that, we worked with the panel maker to give it more video functions, which were 48 hertz, 50 hertz, 60 hertz, depending on the input. So you've got smooth video playing all the time. We also added waveform monitoring. We've added more advanced audio monitoring and focus peaking, etc. So you've got all the tools there to set up your shot as a monitor. Oh, and it just happens to record to ProRes and DNX at the same time. So we believe this is a real monitor that also records. And it's been extremely popular. We've been shipping now for 2.5 months, and I can't make enough of them, which is, and people say a nice problem to have, but it's still a problem because I want everyone to have one if they so desire. And what that screen has really done is take us into a new area of really high quality monitoring rather than just a better quality record from the camera.
Now, I was lucky enough to get one of these very early on when it first came out, and I've used it on some very big jobs, and the camera guys just absolutely love it now.
It's great to hear.
They now have, I don't need to have a monitor and a Samurai on, they've now got
that convergence is always, so you get a bit better, you get significantly better quality recording, 10-bit 422 to an editing codec, so it's easy for post. You've got all your monitoring tools, and we trigger from all cameras. We do file naming from Canons and Sonys and Red cameras so that you can conform if you're doing higher res files, i.e. 4K internally, and recording to us for offline. So all those things are really, I think, that convergence of devices makes life easier for production professionals.
And I mean, obviously the screen's all brand new, the software interface is new, but you have actually made some tweaks to the actual unit itself as well, haven't you? I mean, for a start, I noticed the screen is a proper 16, is it proper
16 by 9? Yeah.
16 by 9.
Proper 16 by 9, we've got large BNCs here, or standard size BNCs.
Which is brilliant.
It makes it much easier. That was a faux pas, giving the mini BNCs. we didn't realize that we could do a Lanc splitter cable.
Right.
So we removed one of the Lanc ports, which allowed us the space to put it in. And also, we've got an auto locking mechanism rather than a lock on the side.
Yes,
so we had a couple of customers drop their units, and they survived and worked, but the lock was a little bit dicky. So
I mean, I've noticed this on using it on some of the shoots, is that you can now very easily you can get these out and slot them in quickly, to worry about finding
those things are annoying on a day-to-day basis if it's hard to get the disc out. But it also needs to be friction proof.
You don't want to go like that and it fall out, do you?
No. So there's a lot of testing done on our part for that. So it's nice and solid. You do need to give it a good yank if you want to pull it out, but it's easy to get out.
And tally lights as well.
We've got a tally light here on the side. So when you're recording, that tally is on. You can also turn that off in firmware, so that just in case you're in an environment where you don't want that red light flashing. And that's a nice feature, so that the talent knows obviously that who's rolling. So the latest thing that I need to mention is these audio level meters down here.
Yes.
So we've worked extremely hard on very accurate audio level meters. We go from -40 up to 0, and they're in the standard colors. They're nice and smooth. They change very easily. So we've got a 2-channel audio there, and if I go into the display options and change to vertical, I can now get all 14 channels with clear labeling for audio.
Brilliant.
If I come in, I've got my large audio level meters here that I can really see, and they're large on the screen there. So that was the last kind of feature request of the old operating system that people really want. And Ninja and Ronin and Samurai will get that also. It's in the Blade now, in the current firmware. Within the next 1 or 2 weeks, we'll be releasing the next version of the Ninja 2 and the Samurai and Ronin firmwares, which will get this as well.
Brilliant. Now, unless people have actually seen one, it's very difficult to explain just how good this screen is.
We find it hard in marketing because there's about 100 features and they're all important. And so if I get going on a demo, usually it takes 15 minutes to finish it.
There. But the screen is remarkable. I can say from using it and talking to really good camera guys who have used this, they are astounded by the accuracy of the screen.
Well, this is a Sony high-end panel. And to get access to that was a lot of work. In the volumes that we ship, we're obviously not a million unit mobile phone maker. But it was a good partnership because we got to adjust the panel for video. And they get exposure of their awesome panels in the video space. Whereas traditionally, we've been a bit behind in the pro video market because we don't have the buying power to buy those really high-end monitors. Speaking of the monitor,
I was going to say, you've got something else in your hand.
We do. So this, we think, is the next holy grail, the next big thing in production is calibration of monitors. So color accuracy is extremely important, especially in the finishing. We spend a lot of time in post-production color correcting. In fact, there's multiple pieces of software that have been developing for years and years, mainly because we can't get it right at the camera.
Absolutely.
So our philosophy, which has been from the start, is get it right at the camera, i.e. recording to an edit format at the camera. In one device, do waveform monitoring and recording. We've now developed a system, and the reason we needed this is we had to do calibration of the screen from factory. So we developed a calibration system. We used a data color. This is a data color spider unit, which is available in retail stores for photography and for televisions and iPads, etc. We actually used one of their units. I went to Infocom in Orlando about 3 months ago, and the first person that came to our booth on the first morning was the sales manager for Datacolor, who said, "You guys have got screens. Would you like? We should hook up and do something." So for the last 2 months, we've been working with them on our own software that takes the profile from here and loads it up into the Samurai Blade. The Ninja and the Samurai will get this also. This is available. The functionality is already in the Blade current firmware. This will be shipping at the end of October, beginning of November. We're just in production now. And the way it works is anytime, anywhere, you can calibrate to Rec 709 6500 Kelvin white point. You place this on top. You plug this USB into your computer. We have a second USB cable that goes into the serial Lanc port here. And a lot of people don't know that that's actually a full serial control of the unit. We program it for Lanc out of factory. But if anyone's interested in controlling these units for play out, or especially Ronins in the rack mount environment, then we have an SDK that we filter who we give it to.
Sure.
But we developed that for James Cameron when he went down to the abyss down below. So you connect that, you hit go on our one-touch calibration software, and the colors, we instruct the Samurai to display the colors that are required for the spider. The spider sends us the profile back, we upload it automatically. Takes about a minute and a half. When you're finished, it's done.
Right.
And you're sitting there with a calibrated monitor. Not only that, you can do it across multiple devices.
Get them all the same.
You can also pay so this is €149.
Yep.
So it's very affordable. We want everyone to be able to calibrate their screens. And the last thing that's really important is you can buy a software so we wrote the software.
Yep.
An OEM the unit and made a few adjustments in the hardware. The second important point is you can download the software, the original software from Datacolor. Right. So you buy this, and then you can calibrate all your other screens in the studio.
Gotcha. So it's not restricted just to the Samurai Blade. Once you've got this piece of kit,
you just need Datacolor software, and you can do all the devices that they currently support. Now we think this is super important for two reasons. You don't have to color correct after.
Yep.
From between shots in studios outside, you can just calibrate and shoot knowing that you trust your colors. You've got the waveform monitor and the tools on there to set up your color properly. So there's no reason for you to be spending a lot of time in post-production on color correction, which then leaves time for creativity, which will produce better production.
Absolutely. Jeromy, it's amazing. Again, when we're going to be able to see this?
Yeah, end of October, beginning of November.
If people want to find out some more information, or they want to come and see and get some hands-on, I no doubt you have a rather large or interesting stand. It's always good to go on an Atomos stand.
We've got sushi being made with 28 cameras from all the major manufacturers.
Superb.
Showing off the blade monitoring and the Ninja 2.
And that, according to my notes here, is in Hall 9 and it's D25.
D25, right next to Panasonic.
Yeah.
You can't miss us, we're pretty big in there.
Great, and if they want to find out some more information on the website is?
Atomos.com. Just go to the homepage, you'll see all the latest announcements. And you can click on there and get more details. All the press releases, images, etc. are up there. And for all our sales channel, they're already putting it on their website, and so customers should be able to get lots of information.
Brilliant. Jeromy, once again, thank you for coming on and showing us. It is an amazing piece of kit. I'm very impressed with it. I will no doubt come and see you on your stand later on in the show. In the meantime, Jeromy, thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for your time,
That's great. Cheers, buddy. Thanks. I've used the blade since it came out, basically, on some very large jobs, and it is incredibly impressive, I have to say. If you haven't got your hands on one, hopefully you'll be able to get your hands on one on the BroadcastShow tour, which will be coming up in October. I've said it once, I'll say it again. Make sure you go and sign up for that. It is free. I'd like to say that again, free, and it's broadcastshow.com/tour, I do believe. From there, you can get yourself on hands-on, and of course, go and visit Mr. Bloom, who will be doing, Philip Bloom will be doing some presentations and things. He will be there all day on those as well. In the meantime, we are going to get ready for our next guest and have a little look at this while we sort ourselves out here. Welcome back. We are set for our last 15 minutes and we're going to be talking to another couple of guests in that time. First up, Johan from ChyronHego. Now, that's a new name.
Yeah, it is.
It is a new name.
Yes.
People may know of Hego, they may know of Chiron, but this is all new. Tell us a little bit about what's happened.
Yeah, at May 22 this year, the merger of Chiron, sort of the predominantly US company, merged with the company I come from, Hego, which is a mainly European company. But, I'm Swedish, so we came out of Stockholm. Sure. And we decided to join forces with Chiron now during this year to create ChyronHego.
Brilliant. Now, I'm going to have to ask why the merger with ChyronHego. What's the rationale behind doing that?
There are various dimensions of it. It's both product and geography and so forth. But because it's Chiron is coming nowadays more from the sort of news graphics side, workflow. Our strength lies in sports technology, sports graphics, outside production, these kind of things. And then we are coming from Europe. Chiron is very strong in the US. So we are creating a new global company that has fantastic strength in both in geography all over the world, and more or less complete portfolio of all the broadcast graphics tools you would need, whatever client you are.
So obviously, as you say, you have a European focus. Chiron obviously had a very much US focus. And you probably have different ways of working. That's always going to make a merger interesting. How's it been going?
It's in all honesty, that was when you're merging two companies, that is always the fear that there will be clash of cultures and all those kind of issues. But it's been so far it's been fantastic. It's we are just trying to look away from negative things and just trying to build on all the positive things which exist in any organization and just sort of cherry pick the good things and to create a great new company.
Brilliant. So this is your first IBC as the new company, as the merger.
Yes.
Usually when companies merge, they're creating new products, new solutions. Are you showing anything new this year?
Yeah, but the first thing we did, we created a brand new look.
Yeah.
So people should come by our booth and see, or go to our website, which is brand new, and see our booth, because it's when you come there, depending on you knew old Hego or if you knew old Chiron, it's something new. It's not Chiron, it's not Hego, it's ChyronHego, the new company, which we are trying to have a really fresh start in terms of how we are perceived in the marketplace. But then we have our products, and we are trying to integrate them as much as possible as well, so so our clients can utilize the strength from both sides. But it's we have a couple of product lines which are which we're very proud of. It's the Chiron more or less invented news, the workflow of integrated news production 15 years ago or something like that. And we're constantly improving that. We still have the fastest way to air, fastest way to easily create stunning graphics for news shows. What we bring from the Hego side is a fantastic workflow for sports graphics, which is anything from a simple clock in the corner to the most advanced virtual graphics production you can imagine. And we have our player tracking technology, which we are very proud of. If we should brag a bit, I think we can say that we are by far the best in the world in this image processing field, in real-time tracking of objects in the sports arena, which open up vast opportunities for data collection for both for the sport itself, but also for visualizations and so on.
So looking forward now, you guys have merged together, you're working on new products together. Where do you see the market going, especially for news and sport, which is what you focus on?
I didn't touch on that earlier in the first question about the rationale, but the one key thing we see about the market, maybe as a whole, but especially in sort of our graphics field, is that it is becoming more and more advanced. It's much more workflow driven. It's much more complicated. It's maybe a negative word, but it's you need really to be really good at utilizing all the capabilities and the systems. At the same time, our clients, the broadcasters, they are maybe changing the way they're working, and they like to outsource more. They would have service models and so on. So from the Hego side, our heritage is very much in service delivery as well. Being with the client all the way out to the signal is produced, and we are bringing that into our product mix now as well. We are not stopping selling products, but we have now we are adding service capabilities as a wrapper around it, because many clients want that today. That's where where the market is going, and that's where we feel that our hybrid model in many ways is a key strength for us in meeting the client. The client wants to be met.
Yes.
We are not imposing a business model on them. We are trying to provide them with the technology they need to create more content for less in the way they want it.
Brilliant. So obviously IBC, you've got a nice new stand here with a new look. We want people to go and see that. So if they are watching this live, you want to come and have a look. The stand number is?
7D11.
7, so it's Hall 7, stand D11.
Yes.
And it's a whole new look, so definitely come and see it. If you think you know what Chiron is or Hego is, you need to come and see the new.
Absolutely.
And find out what's going on. And again, you mentioned the website's been updated.
Yes, ChyronHego.com.
ChyronHego.com, and they'll find out everything they need to know. Brilliant. Johan, thank you very much for coming on and telling us about it. We should pop down and have a look at your nice new stand this year and see what's going on. In the meantime, thank you very much for coming and talking to us about it. Thank you very much. So that's Johan. We got a couple more guests come on over the next, we've got 10 minutes or so left of the show. We will have a chat with them. In the meantime, remember Broadcast Show Tour, and guess what? Another little clip for you. Welcome back. I'm sorry if you get sick of that, but it's important that you go to the Broadcast Show Tour live, which will be happening in the UK in October, if you hadn't already guessed it. Belfast, Leeds and Pinewood. Still, we are here at IBC. It is IBC 2013. We are in the Teradek booth on the corner of somewhere in one of the massive halls here at the Rai in Amsterdam. And lots of people looking at all the kit around. I can see what's going on. It's kind of goldfishy, but I kind of like it. We like that. And so you may have noticed that we've been talking 4K a lot with a lot of our guests, and it's quite important that we get this right. And one of the guys I'm sure who's going to be able to help us is Lewis Kirkaldie from Cinegy. Hi, Lewis. Thank you for coming on. We've spoken before. We spoke at NAB.
Yes.
And you were showing new players and stuff to do with video over IP and things from there. As I said, 4K's been mentioned quite a bit, and you guys have got some 4K solutions as well. And again, it's IBC. We always like to hear new stuff and about what's going on. So tell us a little bit, for a start, about Cinegy if they don't know, and what you're showing here at IBC.
Yeah, no, thanks, John. So at Cinegy, we're a software company.
Yep.
So we build software. We'll only ever ship you a little silver license dongle.
Yep.
So we're all about commodity IT, installing software onto standard Windows platforms with standard storage, and seeing what can get done with that.
Yep.
And we started out with asset management and desktop editing, desktop asset management,
yep.
collaboration. And then as we went on from there, we moved into software-based playout servers.
Yep.
And then we've built up over the last 6-7 years now some IP management tooling, IP encoders and software, and a lot of work's been gone into making that whole IP broadcast chain flow.
So we're talking, if we let's mention 4K. I mean 4K over IP, and surely, I mean, we're talking about massive bandwidth here. I mean, we're talking about lots of storage. How's this work?
Not necessarily. So, I mean, in the industry, again, you've got people, it depends what you're doing with the content. So if you're going to do some color correction, grading, you need the dynamic range. Obviously 4K, it wants a lot of space and capacity to breathe.
Yeah.
And in the content production stage, you need to keep high bandwidth, hundreds and hundreds of megabits.
Yeah.
So we've just recently introduced support for the Sony SR Master format, which is the new Sony format for this. So we can directly import and store SR Master content that's still looking like it's got a high dynamic range, is really kind of grey and ready to be processed.
Yeah.
But then we can also run through and have HD proxies. It's funny that HD's a proxy now. Like an AVCI proxy of that in the asset management chain. But then when it comes down to the IP signaling and IP flows for us, that's getting a lot more. There's a lot more goes on life after content production than like distributing signals around cameras, playout servers, monitoring recording boxes. There's a whole lot of places SDI would get used that you can actually take out and say, okay, well, I just need to make sure that the picture's moving. So even in 4K, it's like, well, we can just proxy that down and send off at 720p 25 2 megabit stream and get a good experience out of that. But actually on our booth, we were pretty pleased to see that the whole world was seeing IP in the last 12 to 18 months. A lot more people have been like, oh, IP, that's really interesting to us. And I was saying that to you before, the big buzzes were IP and 4K, and we had nothing at NAB to talk about with 4K, but now we do have 4K being demoed on our booth. So we have a 4K multiviewer that can display its multiview in 4K. It can take inputs in 4K in both SDI and IP, and then we've got a 4K software playout server. So our channel in the box platform has been upgraded to support 4K, and we've actually got the first versions of those running on the booth. So we like the idea of IP, we like the idea of 4K, so we thought 4K over IP.
Amazing. So the beauty of being able to do obviously something over IP is a lot of people have an infrastructure in already, and is the idea that they can then utilize that infrastructure they've already got.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, customers are always upgrading their commodity IT systems, and fortunately commodity IT has the whole pressure of the world pushing down on prices. So people either already have an investment, and that investment might just be in cabling throughout their building, or it might be in existing switches, and they can upgrade that, augment that, or maybe just use what they have. Depending upon bandwidths, you can actually still have very viable 4K oriented workflows that work with the proxy formats over 100 megabit link. So there's no reason to think that everything in 4K has to start with $20,000 monitors and incredibly large bundles of cables everywhere.
So if somebody's starting, for example, local TV channels or something like that, and they want to take 4K footage and they want to actually distribute that around, they no longer have to think about, right, I've got to run to an expensive monitor here or using expensive cabling with expensive kit. So being able to downscale that in software and render it up on a normal HD screen is a very useful thing, and you can still be looking at the same 4K signal, but the software is just saying you don't have a 4K monitor, crunch. So as far as the platform-wise, obviously you guys are softwares, so you supply software that needs a platform to run on. What sort of platform do we have to look at in order to be able to deal with this?
I mean, we try to remain agnostic, but we tend to also quote people kind of HP models because they're well known and trusted. So just the normal HP DL series servers, like a DL380, and so my boss is always carefully watching what the latest press releases are from the IT industry around Intel CPUs and HP boxes and NVIDIA graphics cards. So I mean, if someone said to me, pick something right now that you'd know work, I'd be like, hand me that Z820, put me a GeForce card in or a Quadro card in from NVIDIA, and I'm happy.
And that can act as a server, that can do take the ingestion, do
anything you want on them. This is the beauty of it. You get a powerful PC platform, and then you can change the identity of that box at the blink of an eye. So we actually just have a fleet, because we have quite small space concerns. Keeping things small at trade shows is good. We actually just put in a fleet of small kind of shuttle single processor boxes to run our whole booth. We just stack up a shelf of them, plug in Ethernet cables, and then go, that's a playout box, that's a multi-viewer, that's an archive MAM server.
Right, so once you've got this server in place and it's running its software, from then onwards, as far as if you want to view it, you're just looking at a player that you provide?
So I mean, we just deploy software onto client desktops. So we can have our customers install any of our software to access any of our tools. But one of the things we do is we license things on engines. So a playout engine is licensed to run, and then you can just install the control client wherever you like. We don't charge more for that part. And the same thing with our archive and asset management system. You license the asset management system, and then you actually say, I would like there to be 10 connections to this. You can install the software on 100 machines, but 10 can run at once. So the license just floats. Which we've seen a number of customers have found this to be a very cost-effective way to get a lot of staff that come in and work at different times of the day to actually get on the system and spend a lot less on their total license.
So being obviously software-based, new updates and features, you can roll those out effectively over the web. Is there?
Yeah, we have a release to web policy where major versions and minor versions get posted to the web. But the total cost of ownership of software is something really quite remarkable. So some of our more major customers, like the BBC in Northern Ireland, they buy the little silver dongle now 5 years ago from us. We often have an idea of what they're installing on and how they're getting set up. But from then it kind of becomes invisible, and they switch out their storage, they switch out their servers as they migrate and consolidate, and we just keep shipping them software updates. And so their total cost of ownership means they've not had to have another big bang project where they roll in and go, we've got to go tapeless now, we've got to go HD now. They just take some software updates.
Brilliant. Lewis, thank you. Now, if people want to come and visit you here at IBC, I'm going to test you now.
It's Hall 7, A30.
You are exactly right. I'm impressed.
When you're on the corridor walking past the beach, you'll see all of our stickers on the wall, and then when you come down the escalators, you can't miss us. We're right there in the entrance to Hall 7 when you come down that corridor.
That's great, Lewis. And of course, we're streaming live to the world as we speak. Some people, believe it or not, can't actually make it to Amsterdam. Is there a website they can go to find out more?
There is www.cinegy.com, CINEGY. And from there you can also download trials of our stuff. We're software based, we like people to actually see if we mean what we're saying. So grab that Z820 off the shelf, install Cinegy Air and see if you can make a playout channel.
Excellent.
Try it for 30 days free. And also IBC, we're giving away another 1,000 Cinegy players.
Oh wow.
So we just got, we're the first company to be AMWA AS11 certified for DPP. Which is brilliant, and that's absolutely incredibly important for the UK. And Cinegy Player is a free player that plays that, decodes the metadata, and we give away 1,000 at IBC.
Brilliant. So, and if they want to get hold of one of those,
come and grab one at the stand. Come see us. They just grab a stand, grab a ticket, we scan their badge, and off they go.
Brilliant. Lewis, thank you very much for coming on. A pleasure always talking to you.
I'll see you again too soon.
Yeah, I'm sure you will, absolutely. If you want to go and have a look, find out everything about Cinegy, and you are going to be around the Amsterdam area, IBC is the place to be, and it's Hall 7 and it's stand A30, of course, their website, if you can't get here. We are coming to the end of the show. We have one more guest to go. In the meantime, have a quick look at this while we get them all set up. Look at that, I coughed just as he said one. It probably came through as well, depending on how good our sound engineer is. We are coming to the end of the show. My voice is just about held out, which is not too bad, I'm quite impressed. However, we have one more guest. Last, but by no means least, I have to say, we have Peter Daffarn here from Projects Department. Hi, Peter.
Hi.
Thank you for coming on. Now, tell us first of all, a little bit, if they haven't heard, about what Projects Department is all about.
Well, Projects Department was a company that I set up when I left Strand Lighting back in '99.
Yep.
And we started out as being really just a lighting consultancy company.
Yep.
But very quickly it grew into doing full studio designs, installations, supply installation and commissioning.
Right.
So it's still a great surprise to me that 14 years later, you know, we're still doing some very nice jobs. And over the years it's grown from our sort of first big job was Middle East Broadcast when I moved from London to Dubai.
Right.
That was in about 2002. But since then we've done a lot in the Middle East, and we've currently just been doing a very nice studio at Pinewood Studios,
right.
Which Camelot are going to be moving into to run the lottery show from.
Oh, okay. So obviously studio lighting design is somewhat important, and this is not something you can just think, oh, I'll buy a load of lights from Photon Beard or something like that and slap them up.
Exactly.
You need to know how to get the best out of them and what lights to use, and that's the sort of thing that you guys can help with.
Indeed. I mean, I always make it clear to people, I'm not a lighting director. I don't light programs on a daily basis. However, over the years, I've obviously learned how to light.
Yep.
And a lot of the studios we're designing long before the technical people are on board. So long before they've employed their lighting director or their cameraman. And so my job is to put together a good basic kit of lights that they can get started with.
Yep.
And then, of course, they'll want to tailor that later on when the technical people come on board.
So when you're designing a lighting installation, do you have to consider expandability?
Indeed, very much so.
As well?
I mean, often the client will want to start with the bare minimum.
Yep.
And I always say get the basic infrastructure in. The things that are hard to change later, like the lighting grid, the electrical installation, those are areas that you can't add too easily later.
Yeah.
Once that's correct, then if you start off with 10 lights and you find you need 20 lights, it's an easy matter just to go and buy another 10 lights and hang them up.
Yeah.
But you can't put another 10 sockets in very easily.
Sure. So if somebody's thinking of setting up a studio, they have no idea how they're going to install a lighting system, what's the sort of process they would go through in order to get you guys on board?
Normally, in fact, I'm doing this right at the moment with a job in Bangladesh, where the client basically says, here's the size of the studio, and we have a discussion with them about the sort of program they're making, because if it's a news studio, it's slightly different to a light entertainment studio.
Sure.
And if it's a multi-purpose studio, again, it's slightly different. So we talk to the client, find out what sort of program they're making, what level of complexity they want, because again, you can be relatively low budget and get effective pictures, or you can go full spec, lots of moving lights, very high budget, dramatic. So it's really talking to the client and finding where they want to pitch, what sort of budget they've got, and also the skills of their operators as well, because there's no point in putting in a very complicated, all singing, all dancing lighting desk if the operators have no idea how to use it.
Yeah. So the idea is to find out exactly the spec they need there and then, but make sure it's something that 2 years down the line, it's still relevant and they can expand on that.
Exactly. Especially if you're putting in a budget solution, you want to make it easy for the client to upgrade later on.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously in UK, local TV is a big thing at the moment, and this is somebody thinking of setting up a small TV station. They might know a bit about cameras, might know a bit about the production side behind, but lighting's something new.
That's something we often find that lighting is often forgotten about. And people get very excited about vision mixers and cameras and sound desks and all that sort of thing, and then suddenly realise, oh, hang on, we need lighting. But a great quote that I often say to people is that you have to remember that TV without lights is called radio.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Because you can't see any.
Absolutely.
So it's actually a very important part. And if you get it wrong, then your pictures look terrible. If you get it right, nobody notices. So.
Brilliant, Peter. So if people want to find you here at IBC.
Here at IBC, I'm on the Photon Beard stand, which is our sister company, which is Hall 11, stand number D43.
Great.
And we have a website, of course, which is www.projectsdepartment.com.
Brilliant. So they can find you on the Photon Beard, where you can even show them lights, and you can also talk about getting them installed properly.
Indeed, and we've got some press releases on some recent jobs that we've done. So,
excellent. Peter, well, thank you for coming on and let us know. I didn't know about Projects Department, which I do now, so it's very useful.
It's been kept sort of quiet for the last few years, but now we're doing these high-profile ones. Probably it's time to shout about it a bit more.
Quite right too, Peter. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So if you are thinking of putting a lighting system in your studio and you're not sure where to start, Peter's your man, and you can find him in Hall 11, D43 if you're coming to IBC over the next few days, or of course have a look at their website. We have come to whoa, I'm looking at notes. Nope, definitely we're finished. We have come to the end of this first show here at IBC 2013. I hope you enjoyed it. We've had a lot of guests over the last couple of hours. We will be doing the same again tomorrow, which is Saturday, Sunday and Monday, and I think we'll have a wrap-up show on Tuesday as well. I will be walking the floor later on each day, doing interviews with the guys on their stands. Some you've seen, some people you've seen, some people you haven't. They will be up on our website as well, which is of course BroadcastShow.com, and our YouTube channel, which is TV Bay Broadcast Show. And we will be back here tomorrow, same time, same place, a whole new set of guests. I bet you can't wait. We'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Goodbye.